there is a football player who's not a quarterback who's running roughshod of the league over the league, and there's a lot of talk now about what he might be the MVP.
That's right. They're saying the season that this young man is putting together makes Saquon's 2024 season look like junior varsity. Jonathan Taylor of the Indianapolis Colts, I know Danny Dimes is all the headlines, but is having a phenomenal first half of the season.
You just said the only thing that matters. What you just said tells you all.
You know
need
what?
to know.
Let me finish the setup,
Go
Rob,
ahead.
before you get to your point. Jonathan Taylor.
You couldn't even help it.
Ran for another 153 yards on Sunday. Had another 3 touchdowns in their blowout win over the Titans. Entering Monday night, Jonathan Taylor currently leads the NFL in rushing yards, rushing touchdowns, scrimmage yards, scrimmage touchdowns, rush yards over 10 yards, rushes over 20 yards, fourth quarter rushing yards, rush yards after contact, and missed tackles forced, which is a long way of saying that he is getting a ton of MVP love both inside the Colts locker room and outside amongst NFL fans. And something tells me, Rob, that you think that this whole thing is a waste of time.
I got news for everybody listening. Is this on? Voting for Jonathan Taylor for MVP is like back in the day voting for Ross Perot. Don't waste your vote. You know what? You might as well go up to the top of the Penobscot building in Detroit and throw it off. It's the same thing. And Rob G he couldn't even help it because he had to give you the news and tell it to you the right way. What'd he say? Guess who's getting all the headlines? It's all about Danny Dimes in the year. Oh, my God. Because it's always about the quarterback. It is. That's where we are. If Saquon Barkley couldn't get a sniff last year, good luck, Jonathan Taylor, because it ain't going to. Saquon almost broke the record, right? Didn't play the last game, had a chance, and he still, despite how well he played, there was no rally cry for him. The last time a running back, won an MVP, Moby Dick was a guppy. It's been forever. Right? Mm-hmm. A long time. That ship has sailed. Maybe they need to just change the name of the award and make it for the best quarterback on the best team or whatever you want to call it.
Yep. I agree with that.
Because it is not going to go. The quarterback position is so important to the football team that without a quarterback, you have no. I don't care what your running back is doing. Without a quarterback, guess what? You're going nowhere.
The only thing I'll push back on that is I do think some of the quarterbacks are having success throughout history because of the running back. So you look at, some of the guys you would say, well, this person had a really good year. Well, Danny Dimes, is he Danny Dimes if Jonathan Taylor isn't the threat that he is?
Give me the running back that the Packers had when Aaron Rodgers won 4 MVPs.
Aaron Rodgers is you've heard me say many times, one of the most talented, if not the most talented.
But I'm not
knocking it. Like,
I'm just
you
saying.
name the top of the guys. I'm talking about middling guys who've won MVP. Meaning if Danny Dimes was to win this year.
Well, he ain't winning, but go ahead.
If like that, you had running backs. Like Kurt Warner was insane, but he also had Marshall Faulk, which is why Marshall Faulk won one and then he won one.
But Kurt
is great, but I'm saying the ability you came into that game as a defense like, shoot, Marshall Faulk, do we stop Kurt? It was like, what the heck do I do? And having an Edgerrin James helps a Peyton Manning. So I'm just saying the idea that just having the quarterback, as if Jonathan Taylor, as if LT didn't help Phillip Rivers.
But my point is, if you're a team and you don't have a quarterback, guess what you're not doing? Like, seriously, you could have a great running back. Mm-hmm. I know what you're saying, like them playing off the quarterback, the running back, because you have to be worried about him, so that opens it up. That's what happened to Danny Dimes in New York, right, with the Giants and Saquon. There's no doubt about it. I'm just saying, but he didn't win an MVP either. I'm just saying, if you don't have a quarterback in this league, you're going nowhere. Home dinner, maybe a show.
Here's the way, Jonathan. Here's the roadmap to him winning it. One, we got into a huge debate, me and you, last year. and I still stand by it. I totally get your thought process. I just would have gone for it. Saquon Barkley, I want to have the rushing title because I said, why can't he have both?
They won a championship.
Right,
they
meaning
did better.
why can't I have that rushing title and my Super Bowl? And he would have had both.
No, but here was the issue. It ain't just about him playing. In order for Saquon to play, all your linemen and everybody else have to play.
And they all wanted to. Line up, let's go.
Okay. And
dang it, let's make something magical happen.
Okay, you say that now.
Aaron Dickerson sitting at home like, whew.
But if somebody broke a leg or got injured on that for your offensive line that was the best in the league.
What I tell you about stop going to people breaking legs, okay? I know it happens. Scatterboo running around here right now feeling that.
Thank you. All right.
My gosh.
There
By the
you
way,
go.
that was horrible to watch that. That was gruesome. But I would have wanted both.
But
I would have wanted
in the NFL, though. People get hurt.
And I would have wanted the title, rushing title, and because I think that's the only way an MVP happens for running back. It has to be something exceptional.
But they got what they wanted. They won a Super Bowl, and that was the ultimate goal.
I would have had two things. That's just me.
How about if he would have had one? How about they would have?
How about I get two?
How about if you only had one?
How about
only one?
I get two?
No, how about one? How about one?
How about I get two? Now, like I was saying, the only way this happens is he has to do something breaking the record. It's kind of like what you talked about, how you failed the big dumper. Cal Wright, like only way he's
like to me,
I
he had to break. He had to break Judge's record for the most home runs in the American League, and then there's no ifs, ands, or buts.
And that to me is how that's the roadmap for a running back to win. If Jonathan Taylor, Rob G, correct me if I'm right, is 31 with LT, right? The leading touchdowns in the season with LT. Remember he was going crazy. We did a little teacup thing he would do in the end zone. If Jonathan Taylor breaks that, and by the way, he has an extra game that LT didn't have. LT had 16, he has 17. So if he were to break that, then I think now we get a chance where they might actually strongly look at a running back. And the only other thing I think that might work in his favor is people saying what you're saying. And with other people, I've said it, you said it, where they hear, it's only a quarterback, so might as well not even vote in, where people like to be contrarian. Like, all right, well, you know what? Maybe Jonathan Taylor has been this exception this year. He broke LC's record. He's at 32,
but
33
last
touchdowns.
year was the example that they could have done that and broke the mold.
Okay, I'm asking you. Let's say they win with me. Let's say Saquon was vocal, like, I want to win it. The Eagles were like, no, it matters to us, and they go and win it. Do you think he would have gotten it had he won it? Like they say, they went for the record. He breaks the record by 28 yards. Now he's the greatest rusher of all time. Do you think they give him the MVP?
I think he would have had a way better shot at it.
And that's what I mean.
But I'm saying, but I don't believe. I just don't. I just think that if he couldn't get, even without the record, he's still the yards he put up, the impact he had with the Eagles, like all that. It was his first year. They were seemed unbeatable. The whole game plans for the Super Bowl was what? Stop Saquon. It was always about him. So my point is, even with that, and Rob G, I don't remember what the vote total was, but it wasn't close.
Here's the
Am I right? It wasn't close.
While you looking that up, Rob G, the other good thing in Jonathan Taylor's favor, Lamar Jackson's not playing. Because Lamar Jackson does things, and you and I sit here. We can argue about this, argue about that, but we both agree he's insane. And he does stuff at numbers that are so ridiculous that it looks normal. And Lamar Jackson will be like, all right, at the end of the season, 42 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He rushed for another 5 touchdowns. He had blah, blah, blah. And you'll look at him and it's just like, all right, that's your MVP. Josh Allen looks good. He doesn't look crazy. That's also in Jonathan Taylor's favor because nobody's looking. Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson looked ridiculous last year. They were doing things you've never seen before. There's nobody jumping off aside from him, right? Baker's kind of going down a little bit. Matthew Stafford's there, but you're like, maybe a Jared Goff, but we know he never puts up the gaudy number enough. Patrick Mahomes is right there, but you wonder, has he done it? Are people like, oh, he's had enough? So Jonathan Taylor in his favor, there's no Lamar Jackson type craziness going on. So that's the one thing I will say. But can he be the first non-quarterback since 2012 with Adrian Peterson? I think he's got a shot. If he gets to 30 touchdowns or more, I think that'll be the key because that's going to be the number. If he either breaks the rushing record.
What city does he play in?
Indianapolis.
So the problem is some votes are going to go to Caitlin Clark, so he won't have enough votes.
They just in Indianapolis. That's all they think about.
That's all they care about.
They like,
all right, can you give us Rob G?
Reggie Miller.
What were the voting?
Now, last year they did the tiered system. You can vote for 5 guys, right? Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, the only ones who got first place votes.
Think about that.
Not one is crazy.
He didn't get. That's
crazy.
Not even in Philadelphia where they watch like the writer, like seriously.
That's kind of crazy.
Not even one first place.
And just to give you some context, the gap between Lamar, who was second, and Saquon, who was third, was more than double the gap between Saquon, who was 3rd, and Baker Mayfield, who was 10th.
Say that
So
again?
Well,
they were
carry to 1 divided by 2.
only voting for those 2 guys, and everybody else, just fill it in,
too
whatever.
close. Yeah.
So
And that's what he
he
does.
wasn't even close.
Am I wrong, either of you, that there's no that this year? There's no Lamar and Josh. Those were from the jump. Boom. Those dudes were insane, crazy. What they were. We were all like witnessing it. Finally the moment we had been waiting for with Josh Allen. Lamar doing even better than he did the year he won it. So I think there's no that this year.
He had his best year ever.
That's what I'm
year.
saying. There's none of that. Nobody has those types of numbers, and I think that's boding well for him.
I think the only guy I think a quarterback's going to win it either way.
Right,
But
right.
the best combination of the Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson thing is the guy we're going to see in about 5 minutes. Because Patrick Mahomes, now that he has his guys back the last month or so, has been on that trajectory where he's putting up the MVP numbers.
Who told you that was about to happen? Who told you that?
Kelvin was right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Elijah.
IG video,
Elijah.
HRU.
HRU, Elijah.
Elijah, it's too early.
HRU,
Elijah. Block that number, okay? Block that number.
HRU, Elijah. I need the video.
He also told you that.
What'd I tell him this time?
It's too long. I got too much time.
Well, here's the question. We don't have time, but here's the question.
Yeah.
If it goes the way this season is going and Jonathan Taylor finishes with about 2,100 total yards and 28 touchdowns, right? But Daniel Jones stays at the pace he's on, and he throws for 35 touchdowns.
No. Daniel Jones is not going to win an MVP.
No, I'm saying.
No, he said would that hurt him?
Oh,
I'm assuming
yes,
that's
is
where
that
you're
going to work against him?
Yes, because there'll be a split vote, and that's what happens sometimes. And
even though we all agree that Jonathan Taylor's the engine that makes them go,
I agree.
I think
they're going to say,
Because we
hey,
saw that in New York with Saquon and Daniel Jones, right? His best year was when Saquon was running.
Only thing I'll say, Rob G, and I mentioned it earlier, where it could go in his favor, is we do have precedence. Marshall Faulk winning in 2000. Kurt Warner was putting up stupid numbers too. But Marshall Faulk was just going crazy with the receiving and the running. So if Jonathan Taylor can have that kind of a year, because Daniel Jones ain't Kurt, maybe that'll help him, is that the presidents are like, no, he's just been too outstanding that it has to be him. All right, Rob, so they're watching us right now, which means another thing they can do is what?
They can subscribe. All you got to do is hit that button, subscribe to The Odd Couple for some of the best sports talk content in the nation.
Facts, and while you're at it, they can like, they can comment, they can share. Do all that for us. We appreciate it. Just do all that right up in here.